like
I'm
more
here
human.
with Eppie Potts, who has been a member of the Guild for many, many, many years. When did you first started as a student, is that right?
Yes, I started as a student. The Guild was a group of about 10 people who hired a teacher for themselves and set up for themselves as a private workshop. They had a throwing teacher and they had a sculpture teacher.
Was that in this location, or
No,
where
it was
was
in a different location up close, right on campus, right behind the Nichols Arcade. There was a building that belonged to the arcade. It was part of the arcade, and we rented the building. And this was in about, I think they started in about 49, and I joined in about 1950. So it's been a long time.
So when did the Guild actually become incorporated as a not-for-profit organization?
Almost immediately, within the first several years.
And how did they come to be in this location on Hill Street?
Well, that location was never adequate. It was much too small and awkward, no parking. So we started looking for space. One of the members put in a little lump of money so we could buy this. This building cost almost nothing.
Oh,
It had been a non-ferrous foundry before we took over.
Oh, interesting.
So it had all the big doors and things that a foundry would have, and cement floor.
And so who donated the money to purchase the building? Do you
Well, what was interesting is, I don't think people would do it now, but we put all the money we made from selling pots into the building
what a
fund.
dedication.
Yeah, everybody put all their money they made, and then Harriet Waite gave a big donation of money.
And so how many years have you been a member of the Guild?
Well, they took me into membership within 2 or 3 years, but in the early 1950s.
Wow. Wow.
Well, it was very different. These were all, I don't know, the aesthetic sort of people, mostly women, middle-aged women. Some of them were house mothers for student housing. A number were faculty wives. I think there were only like 2 men.
I think I saw a picture of you, didn't I? A photo from the 50s?
But that was at this building.
At this building, yeah. Outside in front.
Yeah.
And you look just like a woman from the 50s.
I know, and we all had on dresses, you know.
Yes.
When I started, there was not possible to buy pants. You could buy riding jodhpurs or something like that, but women didn't wear pants. And then we needed pants for doing physical work. But we had to go down to the farm store in downtown in order, you could get bib overalls. Can you believe it? It was about it for clothing.
So why do you think the Guild has been here for so many years? How many years has it been in existence now? Do you know?
Well, since about 1950.
So that makes it
the arithmetic.
50, so that's about 67 years.
And we had a 60-year celebration back a little ways.
Right.
You may have seen pictures from that.
So what do you think has been the key to the success of the Guild and its stability?
Well, the point system, actually. The Guild almost fell apart several times. You know, we didn't all get along. There were some prima donnas who would drive up into the parking lot, drop off their pots for someone to fire, and go away and never lift a finger. You would surely, with their talent, you surely wouldn't want them to sweep the floor, would you? So we had some personal bad times. Then Maxwell Reed was president. At the point he picked out 3 of us and said, "Fix it."
Oh, how great.
Fix it.
Were you one of those people?
Yes, I was one
yeah,
of the
I bet
3.
you were.
And we met and we talked and but the inspiration came like a flash, that we would set up a ledger system, and that we would, for every pot we got fired and every piece of material we used, we would then have to pay, but not in money. You couldn't buy your way out of this. You had to pay in labor. So we set up a scheme of labor.
Yeah, and that's a system that's been emulated by other guilds because
I
it's
have
been
no,
very
I hope
successful.
so. Because any kind of actually any kind of a co-op, well, you discover it sounds nice to be cooperative, but people are not naturally all equally cooperative. You know, we all differ about that. So we had to set up a system where you had to cooperate, whether you wanted to or not. You had to do it. You didn't have a choice, or you couldn't get your pots fired. The one key thing we all wanted was to get our pots fired. So if you keep that away from people, unless they work.
And they also want shelves. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
The shelves are a big inducement
Storage
as well.
shelves.
To keep their supplies and materials.
The whole system, our whole setup here was 3 really talented women who are good at managing space and arranging space. So we've hardly changed it since 1950, since whenever we bought the building. I can't remember, in the 60s maybe, but they were so good at what they did.
Yeah,
they arranged things so well.
It's amazing. It's amazing how the guild functions.
Sure, they designed those carts, storage carts, to a size to go through the door. I would never have thought of that. But these women were very talented at arranging. And
I'm sure you were a huge part of how successful the guild has become.
Well, in the early days of the guild, with the original 10 members who didn't fire kills, they didn't stack kills. They were a little too nice, may I say, something like that. But Dorothy Cahill and I were 2 students, and as we learned things very fast, we had excellent teachers. We learned things very fast, and pretty soon we got a reduced membership because we stacked the kills and did the firing. Nobody else. They wanted someone else to do it. They made the pots, and somebody else should take care of it. So for a few years, we paid a reduced fee.
And then you got everybody to share equally, eventually.
Well, then we worked out this bookkeeping system, where by then it was everyone wanted to stack and fire kills, because that's how you got your points. You got your space in the kill.
Well, thank you, Eppie. I really appreciate you telling us a little bit about the Guild's history. Thank you.